A summer girl goes swimming. Swims out a little far. She tires. Fishing boat comes along.
It's happened before.
I don't think you appreciate the gut reaction people have to these things.
Harry, I appreciate it. I'm just reacting to what I was told.
Martin, it's all psychological. You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Get out of the water! And welcome to What Makes It Scary, a seasonal podcast unleashing the fear behind your favorite and not so favorite horror movies. I'm your host, Jody Henderson of Clever Real Effects Studios, and with me, as always, Alex Vincent of Mr. Red Productions.
Alex Vincent, in the shape of
a killer shark. That's right! This week, we are talking about my all-time
Finally.
favorite horror movies.
Yes.
Shark movies.
Yeah, you are, let me say it, susceptible to sharks. You're shark-ceptible, if you will.
What does that mean?
You're scared of them.
Oh, yeah.
A horror that involves a shark is going to be scarier
I'm susceptible
for you.
to it. Yeah, for sure.
There is a horror movie called Frogs,
Oh, Lord, I don't want to watch it.
but I feel like it doesn't have the level of quality, we'll say, as the movie. All of the movies we're about to talk about.
That's
here
right.
Today. Yeah, we're talking about shark movies. It's been so long that we haven't done this. I can't believe we haven't done this sooner.
I know, for
But
real.
you were putting it off.
I was, because we needed to establish kind of what we were doing with
Sure,
this show.
I think you were
and
putting it
all
off
that.
because you didn't want to watch it because you're
No,
scared.
no. I actually love watching these movies.
Yes, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Are you scared of sharks?
No.
No.
Here's the thing.
Not at all.
Well, sharks are one of those things that, like a bear, if I were to encounter one, obviously I would be shitting my pants. I'd
Okay.
be like, this is a nightmare. I'm not going to survive this. Uh-oh. But if I'm just sitting there in my room thinking about a shark, which I do often, I'm not going to start shivering in fear. Like I would if I were to think about, I don't know, something else.
Like what?
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
You're not scared of anything. So.
Well, right. I'm not that scared. I mean, I guess a spider. If I think about a spider being near me,
Or
I'm
like
just
crawling
ugh.
on you.
Yeah. Ugh.
Or like into your ear.
Oh, stop.
And like, see, yeah.
I shudder. It makes me scared. But if I think about like, ooh, if I were just in the ocean with a shark right now, yeah, that'd be scary. But whatever. You, on the other hand,
Mine is not so much that I can like talk myself into being scared of it, like if I'm thinking about it or whatever. It's literally all visual.
the visual of a
I do
shark.
not like looking at pictures.
Well, they have these lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Yeah, or a dog's eyes, one would say.
Like a dog's eyes.
Like a dog's eyes. Which
we
is what I
never
thought
know.
that line was forever.
Every single time I quote that line, I change it each time
To
because I
whatever
don't
it
know,
is.
because I never know what it is. We found out it's
doll.
doll, like Raggedy Ann.
Yeah. But yes, mine's all the visual of a shark. It's the teeth, which is really funny, like what my career is and whatever.
Yeah. You're a dentist, right?
Yeah. And then just super, super menacing, vicious. It's because, whenever you see like the pictures in National Geographic or whatever of like a shark
Right.
attack,
Yeah.
it's always like the shark's mouth is like wide open and all these teeth. And of course there's always blood too.
Right,
So it's just like, it's just instant, just like, oh God. And all I can think about is like, what if I am like, and it's always like my stomach that I always think like it's gonna, like Quint from Jaws, just
Right.
swallow me whole almost. Like, and that's what I'm scared of.
That's what makes it scary, you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got it out of the way early.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are scary. They're a fundamental predator for humans, and it's terrifying. And the idea of adapting them into the movie was not something that I would say is obvious, because it took a long time for it to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense for sure.
Yeah.
When it did happen. But we're not going to start back then.
We're not. We're talking about 4 movies today. I like to call them the old, the new, and the borrow, and the blue.
Yeah, the old, new, borrowed, and blue. Much like a wedding.
Yes.
Much like a shark wedding, a schwedding,
A sweating.
if you will.
I'll be sweating if there's shark at my wedding.
Yeah.
For sure. Actually, there will kind of be a shark because on my garter there is a tiny little shark charm.
Yeah.
Because we tried very hard to incorporate every single thing that we like in movie media.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like some aspects of Jaws, Jurassic Park,
Yep.
Indiana Jones, Star Wars. We have
there.
as much as we can.
So if you're there somehow, if you're at the wedding,
Look for it. They're like the hidden Mickeys
Right.
of Disney World.
yeah, little secrets. But yeah, we have 4 movies, and we're going to talk about them in reverse chronological order.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't know what time the first one came out.
we watched them in this order, and we're going to talk about them in this order because we felt like to start it off with such a bang, it feels like, well, why even talk about anything else then?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, let's not even mention that movie
What
right
movie?
now. Exactly.
I don't even know.
We're going to talk about 2018's The Meg. first.
Statham.
That's right. This is my first Jason Statham movie that I've ever seen.
last, mate. Let me tell you.
No, it probably will be my
Okay.
last unless he's in like another shark movie or whatever.
Maybe. No, this is a fun movie. We watched this in theaters when it came out.
We did. We went with my mom because
Yeah.
my mom is also a very big shark movie person.
Yeah.
Very, very big. This movie only has a 46% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is low.
Well, maybe. This movie's not bad by any means, but it's also dumb, and I think that's where a lot of it comes
Maybe.
It comes into play. It's fun though. It's a fun. Well, it's I would say not a horror movie. It's more of like an action.
I don't know. I think all shark movies are horror movies.
Yeah, that's true. It's scary.
They're
for sure.
they're only in there to be scary.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's a movie called The Meg. What does The Meg stand for? Is Meg Ryan? I don't think so.
no, I don't believe so. Let's read the synopsis, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Previously,
Oh, there's a backstory to this.
yes,
Okay.
thought to be extinct,
Oh.
a massive creature attacks a deep sea submarine, leaving it disabled and trapping the crew at the bottom of the Pacific.
Uh-oh.
With time running out, a visionary oceanographer recruits rescue driver Jonas Taylor to save the crew and the sea itself from the unimaginable threat, a 75-foot-long prehistoric shark known as the Megalodon.
That's a long shark.
Yeah.
That's a giant shark.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big shark.
Okay, this movie, so we said stars Jason Statham, but
Oh, yeah.
it also stars Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson, Dwight Schrute from The Office. He says bears, sharks, Battlestar Galactica in this movie.
No, he does
No, he
not.
doesn't.
But how awesome would that have been?
would've been good.
You called him out that he doesn't have any glasses, and you think
sure.
he's one of these people who like has to have glasses on.
It has to. I just think that there are some people whose faces are built to have glasses and they just look weird without it. And I know that there's like you just get used to people with glasses. I know that's one thing. I'm talking about something else.
What are you talking about? Like cartoons when the character with glasses like takes them off and their eyes like
Yeah,
shrinks
their
down
eyes are
into
tiny
nothing.
and they have like outlines of where glasses should be. That's exactly right. He's like that. Also, his hair is not parted down the
center.
middle.
Yeah.
He just looks very strange. But maybe I'm just used to him. I don't know.
think you're just used to because I don't really mind it.
He plays I would almost call it like a Mark Zuckerberg type character, but he's less of a robot than Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, he's like a Patreon. He's like a backer of this.
a Patreon. Yeah, he
Yeah.
subscribes to these people.
Well, like
he's a fund. He funds
funder,
it.
yeah.
He's the, what do we call it? The Finnegan
Yeah.
of this movie.
Of Frankenstein. Yes, he is the one that is supplying all the money to this research group who is trying to discover that the bottom of the ocean in the Pacific
Marianas Trench.
is not actually the bottom.
Uh-oh. It goes deeper?
And it goes deeper. And
What
they
is-
don't know what's down there.
What would James Cameron have to say about this? I bet he would be losing his mind if he could go down there.
I don't know.
We'll have to ask him when we next time we see
Yeah,
him.
next time I see him, I'm going to ask him. This movie also stars Ruby Rose,
Yes!
who I'm going to put it out there, and I know you guys have been like looking for it the last couple of episodes. I was going to say
I have
who
been.
I thought would be the perfect Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh.
I believe it to be Ruby Rose.
Now, why do you think that?
It's just she's got such great bone structure. She's dark and twisty.
Yeah, she's
She's
dark and
also
twisty.
Batwoman.
She's Batwoman, more importantly than any of those other things.
Yeah. So
Um,
I think she would be great at that.
That'd be cool.
That or Daisy Ridley. Those are my
Okay.
two choices.
I would say very different kind of.
But they both work.
All right, sure. Yeah, she's cool. She has not a huge part in this, but she's definitely present for sure. And yep, we have her. We have a few other random kind of people that we've seen in other things.
Yeah.
There's a guy in this movie, Toshi. He is a hero in the show Heroes.
Is his name Hero?
Yes,
Oh, that's crazy.
but he's not the main character. He's a main character. He's not the titular hero. He's a titular hero.
He's not the titular hero.
Right. We also have the woman who plays Jonas's ex-wife. We did not recognize her.
Yes. I was
We
like,
had to
why
look
do
her
I
up.
know? Why do I know this face?
Right. She is
She is Sonya Blade.
Sonya Blade.
In the very new 2021 Mortal Kombat.
Came out this year, which we love that movie.
Yes.
And yeah, she's in it. So a lot of interesting characters in this sprinkled throughout.
Yeah. The story, I mean, doesn't go like too far. They do send somebody down, a couple of people down, and they do kind of break through this like layer on the bottom of what they think to be the ocean floor.
Right, there's a thermal layer, which I
Right.
think just means like it's really, really hot or really, really cold in this one layer.
And
but
then
underneath of it,
yes,
it's normal.
If you go below that, and they break through, and then they get attacked by this megalodon.
The Meg.
And so they call Jason Statham because his ex-wife is Sonya Blade,
Right. They get trapped down there.
and he comes and he goes down for a rescue mission because that's kind of what he used to do for his job.
Yeah.
And they bring him back up. Well, it turns out that when they brought the ship back up, it created almost like a portal
Right.
for things to come up and go through that cold layer that's at the bottom.
Yeah, just a temporary little blip of
About 25
access.
seconds, I think is what
Yeah.
they said. And it let up a megalodon because once they get back to the study station at sea,
Which is really cool. This
Yeah.
thing. It's a series of tubes, much like the internet is
Right.
a series of tubes. They're made of glass and you can see stuff.
and they find that, okay, a meg has gotten out.
That's not good.
No.
That's not what you want. You don't want to release a Meg.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm going to put myself in these movies again. If I were a super badass bald action movie star diver,
You have to be bald.
I have to be bald for sure, going down to the depths of the sea, I would just not bring a megalodon back with me.
Yeah.
That's just what I would
that
do.
easy.
I would simply not release a megalodon.
There are many things I could say about this movie that I would not do. First of all, I would not keep my mouth shut. And then just as the group,
Yeah.
the scientist group, who are scientists.
Sure.
I would not tell the Coast Guard and stuff that, hey, we may have let a huge megalodon shark that could upset the entire ecosystem of the ocean
We might have done.
out.
Yeah.
I would not have been quiet about that.
Right. Well, there is a twist, a subterfuge where Rainn Wilson's character does say that he has done that.
No, that's later.
Well, yes, I know, but
Okay. Don't jump.
Okay,
We'll
sorry.
get there. Because I mainly just want to explain this next part because I thought this was the best part of the whole movie.
Okay.
So they go out. They do decide that they're going to kill this megalodon.
yeah, they have to.
Even though a couple of the scientists are like, no, you can't kill it. It's
Let's
a
study it."
prehistoric. But it's like, you know what? It's gonna start destroying people. Like we can't.
Oh, it does.
Or things or everything. So we have to kill it. So they go out there and they do. It's this big action scene of like, this one girl's in the cage and the cage is actually going to be swallowed that the shark is so big.
Oh, it's cool that they have a scene with a shark cage in it. I wonder
where they got that
where they
idea.
got that idea from. I can't think of any other movies that have used a shark cage scene, but we'll keep going.
Yeah. So they do. They end up killing that one. The 75-foot shark.
And it's really like halfway through the movie that they killed the Meg. It's
and then
really
I'm
cool.
like, we got like an hour left of this movie.
an hour left of
What
this
are we
2-hour
gonna-
movie.
What are we gonna be doing?
And they string the thing up
onto the boat, which
Yeah.
boat's probably not even big enough to hold it.
Well, they might need something a little larger, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But they're just like taking pictures with it and whatever, and then out of nowhere,
Yeah. Well, out of the ocean.
but out of nowhere in
Yeah.
the ocean, an even bigger megalodon comes and eats
And
that
jumps on
megalodon.
it and grabs it and takes it down, capsizes the boat completely.
Oh yeah, I got that. That's one of my things too. One thing I would not do in this movie, I would not not stay on the boat.
Oh my God! Almost all of these movies that we watched today, nobody can stay on a boat.
Fucking boat.
Everybody's getting knocked.
Stop
into
going near the
ocean.
edge
Yeah.
and just stay on the goddamn boat.
Right. First of all, guardrails for sure.
Yeah.
They need guardrails. Secondly, just stay in the middle of the boat. I guess in this case, it didn't really matter because the entire
This
boat
once,
gets,
but like 5 times previous to that,
Yeah.
we've had people.
people
fall out of the
falling into
boat.
the water. Just falling into the water. This movie, I think the main thing about this movie is that everybody is like trying to die because nobody.
Oh, yeah. Actively.
First of all, yeah, they're like violent about
Well,
it. They're
the
like,
one-
I'm gonna sacrifice myself.
Main girl,
Yeah, Suyin.
Suyin, is like, she has a daughter.
Yeah.
And she's bound and determined to die.
Yep.
Any chance she can, she's like, yep, I'm going to go save these people. I have no training to do that. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go in the Shark Tank.
Right.
No, you're on a death mission and you're going to abandon your child.
Right, yeah. Who, by the way, they have helicopters and boats that seem to be able to go to and fro from the research station. They're not like trapped here, it doesn't feel like.
No.
So why is this child still there after
I don't know.
like after the Meg shows up? It should be like, all right, child, you bye.
Yeah, bye.
You're leaving. You're out of here.
You would think.
They don't. So this Meg is even megger.
So this one
than the first
probably is
Meg.
the 75-foot
I was
one.
I was wondering about that.
Okay.
I feel like it must be. The first one's
Okay,
50 foot.
whatever. The second one is so much bigger.
It is.
And I was so surprised when I saw this for the first time.
The shot of the bigger one, like eating the smaller one, which was already a huge shark, was so cool.
I remember being blown away.
Yeah,
Like,
and they hide it so
"What?"
well.
They do. They really do.
I don't remember the trailer, so maybe they do something.
I
with it, but
didn't watch the trailer.
Yeah.
What I saw was like either like an ad print or whatever, and it's so good. It's literally just the water, and there's like one person on a tube
Mm-hmm.
that's just like hanging out, and then just this big circle around him is the mouth of the megalodon.
Yeah.
That and the original Jaws poster.
Whoa, Jaws, huh?
Yeah.
Never heard of that movie.
I know I wasn't gonna say it, but the original Jaws poster, you know, where it has the girl swimming at the top and the sharks coming up underneath it. Well, they have that shark, and then they have the megalodon coming up for
Yeah.
like that shark, and that's a great poster
That's
as
a
well.
good
That is
poster.
what made me go, I must see this movie.
It's a good post. I love a good marketing campaign.
Yes.
This is a good one. So the bigger. There's always a bigger fish, as they say in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and it's true in this case because there's a bigger fish,
Yep.
bigger, badder fish.
They end up killing it.
Yeah. Well, no. Not only do they end up killing it, Jason Statham rides this thing up out of, has like a fist fight with this giant prehistoric
Yeah.
shark, and ends up stabbing it in the eye with a spear. When I tell
That
you
has
that this movie is
toxins in it.
stupid, yeah, that has toxins. When I tell you this movie is stupid, this is what I mean by that. And I think this is why a lot of the movie has such a low score because it's dumb. It's not a superhero movie, but it is.
Well, let me ask you this. You know
Please.
the famous saying of like, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
I've heard it. Yes.
Okay, well, I only think there's so many ways that you can kill a shark.
Right.
Like, so it's like, what are you gonna do?
Well, I don't know. You could have Jason Statham fly into the air with
Apparently
it. stab it
that's
in the
one
eye.
of them, but it's not the greatest way to do that.
Sure. It was
Anyway,
a lot of fun, though.
That's that movie.
Before we end, though, we have to talk about the director of this movie.
Oh.
This guy,
yes, you looked this up and you specifically didn't tell me who it was.
Right. I found some interesting stuff. This movie is directed by John, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Turtlaub, I believe.
Okay.
And he is known for directing 2 movies that I love that you do not care for much. Stars.
Godzilla? No.
It stars our Wicker Man boy, Nick Cage.
Oh, National Treasure.
Yes, he directed National Treasure 1 and 2, and he directed 3 Ninjas.
Yes.
The original 3 Ninjas.
I knew there was a reason you were keeping it from me. I love that movie.
I was very
Rocky
surprised
loves
because
Emily. Rocky loves Emily.
I was thinking like, this movie's like weird. I don't know who directed this movie. I recognize this name. I think that's the guy who directed National Treasure. Oh, it is. And the 3 Ninjas. What?
Holy cow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And you know what? The next movie also has a director that I was shocked about their credits.
And that movie is The Shallows.
We talked about The Meg. We talked about The Shallows. The titles of these movies are increasingly getting longer and longer.
Yeah. This came out in 2016, which I didn't think.
Yeah.
I thought this came out after The Meg.
Really?
Yeah, which I don't remember the Meg coming out in 2018.
I do.
But
I
a
remember
lot's
it being
happened between
recent.
now and
Yeah.
then.
The last 3 or 4 years have felt like about 5 or 15 years.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to
For
kind of
sure.
quantify. Well, neither of us had seen this one.
No.
This was a new
has
one.
a 78%. This is well deserved.
Yeah. This was a really good movie.
Fantastic. Who directed this?
This movie was directed by another man whose name I don't know if I can pronounce correctly. It's Jaume Collet Serra.
Okay.
And he directed another movie that came out this year that you and I saw in theaters. Try to guess. What movie did
okay.
you and I see in theaters this year?
We've
Not
only
recently.
Oh.
I mean, not this weekend.
Oh, not this past. We saw spoilers. Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills, Michael Myers.
Yeah. Well, we've only seen 2 other movies,
Yes.
so let me guess. Spiral, the
No.
Book of Saw, Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, he directed because this movie very heavily stylized. Like every shot of this movie is very stylized.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was like, wow, this director is really, really going for it in this movie. He must have a really unique style. What other movies has he directed? Jungle Cruise,
Cruise.
which does not feel like this movie at all. And
no.
2005's House of Wax.
Wow.
Worst horror movies, was it season 2?
Season 1.
Season 1.
That was the very first movie we talked about.
Yeah, which we determined wasn't that bad, or I
No,
did anyway.
no.
He directed that movie.
Wow.
So, very strange career this guy's had. And this movie is
Well,
very
if you think
weird.
about it, like the House of Wax, and then goes up to the Shallows, and
Yeah.
then you could consider it going up to Jungle Cruise.
In terms of box office numbers,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
For sure. I don't like how much we've talked about Jungle Cruise on this entire season.
it's pretty
It's come
weird,
up
right?
in a couple of different episodes, and I don't really like it.
Yeah. But this movie stars Blake Lively.
Blake Lively.
Yeah, who I have never seen in a movie before, apparently.
You know, I don't, and I should look it up. I think she's the blonde in Sisterhood of the
is
Traveling.
in Sisterhood of the Traveling
Okay,
Pants,
well
which
then
I've never seen.
she's the blonde, and I think that's the only other movie I've ever seen her in. I don't really. She typically, does very like romantic stuff or like
Yeah.
like Dear John. I think like those type of movies.
Nicholas Sparks.
Thank you. I
She
couldn't
was-
think of that.
She was in Age of Adeline,
Yes,
which came
that
out a couple years ago. That was, I think, a big movie. People
Yeah,
talked
I
about,
didn't
but
see it because
yeah.
those just aren't the type of movies that I like to go see.
Nobody gets brutally murdered in them, I think. I haven't
Well,
seen
yeah.
them. This movie,
but-
however,
Yeah, so this was just a complete spin for her, a
Right.
tailspin, if you will.
yeah.
Takes place. Should I read the synopsis?
I would love if you did. I'm going to guess this movie takes place in Brazil.
But
I feel like
actually,
it takes place near Brazil.
I don't think it says. Still reeling from the loss of her mother, medical student Nancy Adams, Blake Lively, travels to a secluded beach for some much-needed solace.
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah. Despite the dangers of surfing alone, Nancy decides to soak up the sun and hit the waves. Suddenly, a great white shark attacks, forcing her to swim to a giant rock for safety. Left injured and stranded 200 yards from shore, the
Not
frightened
that many
young
yards.
woman must fight for her life as the deadly predator circles her in its feeding ground. Wow, sorry. I cannot
It's
read.
okay.
But yeah,
It's
it already
an
just
intense movie.
like shoots you up. You're
Yeah.
just like, this is going to be great. Just the premise alone.
I have a
I
lot
was
of-
wondering, I was like, oh God, how are they going to, it was like an hour and a half. I'm like, how are they going to stretch this out to an hour and a half?
Right. Well, they do stretch it. For one thing, it takes a while to get to that point. There's a lot of setup.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's good. You really get to know the character, and this is a great movie example of taking a character that at first you don't know who she is. You're introduced to her, and then you just get to rooting for her so strongly that like when she's going through everything during the events of the movie, you feel every action that she is going through, and you're just like, oh no, this is really tense and terrible. And then all the successes, you're like, yes, that's really good. Because if they hadn't spent so much time in the beginning, if they had
You
just
wouldn't
really
care,
gotten to
yeah.
right, you'd just be like, oh, I hope she survives because I hope she doesn't die. But like, you're not empathizing with her in the same way.
Right. Like it said, she had recently lost her mom. She has all these pictures of her mom that from this beach, this like secret beach, which we never get the name of.
Right. I think it's just called The Shallows.
I call it shark beak.
Shark
Beach.
beak.
Oh my
Beak of
God.
shark.
That was going to be such a good joke, and then I ruined it.
Here, I'll edit in you saying Shark Beach if you want to say it right now.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. She has all these pictures of her mom on the beach, and she finds it, and it's like, oh, very cool, and there are 2 other people there while she's surfing to start
surfers,
with,
yeah.
but they leave, and then they even tell her like, hey, you probably shouldn't be like surfing alone. And she's like, I'm just
Right.
gonna catch like one more.
Yeah. One more wave.
Yeah, and that's when she gets attacked by it, and that's a scary scene.
It straight up bites her leg and like.
I
is
thought it
pulling
bit her in the
underwater.
stomach, and I was
Ugh.
like, oh.
Yeah, it is a visceral shark attack. It's horrifying. This I think this might be, for me anyway, the scariest movie with with sharks. It's like the sharks are the scariest in this movie for me.
They're all so scary. I
Yeah,
can't
you
really
can't
pick.
choose.
I mean, I guess I'm not scared of the Meg because I cannot picture what that would actually
Right.
be.
And it's
but-
more of a cartoon than a
right.
shark.
But this movie's almost like that one with James Franco where he gets his arm caught.
127 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a little bit like Gerald's Game, which is a movie where a character gets
yeah.
trapped in one location for the entire movie.
Yeah. It's like that. So she gets attacked in the leg
Yeah.
and her thigh, and she gets to this rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like it said in the description, she's also a medical student. I think this is a brilliant thing because it's like, obviously she's the only type of person that would probably survive,
Right.
because
Yeah.
like other people would start panicking. They'd, she has this huge gash on her leg. At one point she like takes off her necklace and tries to like suture herself shut.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst scene in the whole movie.
It was pretty intense. But yeah, and I had mentioned when we were watching it, it was a really good case of show, don't tell, because earlier in the movie, they had established that she was a medical student.
Right.
But I missed it. I just wasn't paying attention, which is why you don't tell everything, because people, miss lines. They skip things. I'd forgotten all about that. And when she was doing this, it made me go, oh, she's a medical student. She knows how to do medical stuff. She's talking through it. She's talking to herself. It makes a lot of sense. I thought that was really cool.
Yep. She also tears off the arm of her like sweat or swimsuit and like puts it on her leg to help fight hypothermia and to constrict the blood flow and everything like that. It's just like super, super cool.
Yeah.
She also has this little buddy on her rock, this little
Yeah.
seagull, which I fucking hate seagulls, but this one's okay.
Steven Seagal, she calls him,
Yeah.
which is cute.
And like his wing's broken and now they're like buddies together.
Right, they're both trapped there, which really sucks because this bird is like it's stuck on this thing, and tide's coming in, and it's going to be high tide. And once high tide comes, the thing will be submerged in the water.
The rock.
Yeah, the rock will be. And so this poor bird, if Blake weren't there, would just get got by the shark or drown or whatever. Although I guess birds can probably swim, so maybe it'd be okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like the shark
But
would
the
think
shark would get him.
maybe the shark would think it's too small and not care. Hard to say.
No, the shark hates everything.
That's true. This shark, by the way, all these sharks,
Yeah, they're unrealistic in
Right,
their
sharks-
human targeting.
right, sharks don't like to eat people. This is a thing. So
Yeah.
you just kind of lean into the horror movie aspect of the shark is just going to attack you because it's a horror movie.
Right. And she's out there all night.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, the 2 guys that were surfing come back and, come out to see. And she's like yelling, like, stop, don't,
yeah.
there's a shark. And they're already kind of in the water. And the one guy literally says, like, there's no sharks here.
Yeah.
And boom, just gets like annihilated by this shark that,
He gets got.
yeah,
He's-
jumps out and rips him to pieces.
One of them has a GoPro on
Yes.
his helmet.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because then we get like almost like Jurassic Park 3 where it's like a perspective of like, what that guy's seeing, and it falls off at one point and the shark like bites at
Attack
it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
But Nancy, Blake Lively, she gets it eventually.
Yep.
And then she uses it to like film herself like, hi, I'm out here on this rock. It's this day, help if you can. But if not, send this video to my dad and just,
Yeah.
and then she recites this message for her dad, which
Very
of course is like
heartwarming.
very heartfelt. You're this is what makes you root for her and everything
Mm-hmm.
like that. Also earlier in the movie, another like just drunk bum who's on the beach.
This just guy who
She's like screaming like, go get but it's in a different language than her. She's like screaming like, go get the phone from my bag.
plus it's hard to hear because she's so far away. You can kind of hear her voice, but not really.
Right. And he just like doesn't really understand. Like, it sees her surfboard and it's just like, okay, well, I'll run that out to you so you can go and get your surfboard. And he gets eaten by the shark as well.
Yeah. Right. He gets I think he was trying to steal the surfboard. I think he went out there to get it, and then he got eaten. But he gets
because
eaten
he gets on it and he's like still going.
Right. Well, he gets attacked by the shark and he crawls up on a shore, and like his upper half is the only thing there. Like his lower half is still like left behind, and it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
But really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, she gets to where it's high tide and she has to like make a break for it, like either swim to shore, which she can't do. She won't make it.
She sees nearer to her
is a buoy.
A buoy.
A big buoy.
A big buoy. Ew, he's a big buoy.
And she's like, if I make it to that, maybe I can like send a signal because it's got like a light on it.
But also, like, it won't rise and fall. I mean, it rises and falls with the tide, so
she'll be safer on there.
Right. She goes, but
she does. And I don't really. This scene pulls me out of it because she does see that there's jellyfish, and she's like, okay, well, that will kind of add some protection to me because the shark won't swim through them.
Sharks want to get stung.
But the longevity that she holds her breath underwater is unrealistic.
Right. It's a lot of editing and stuff that it seems like it takes longer. And so, it's like she couldn't hold her breath this long. But yeah, and she swims through the jellyfish. She eventually does get to the buoy, but the shark is like getting to her. She's able to kind of get up onto the thing. She finds a flare on there. Mm-hmm. She drops the flares
into the water.
So they're all wet. She puts them in, and they kind of like fizz. They're not very bright. She sees a boat nearby, so she tries to signal to it. It doesn't really work out. Right. She's like, "Oh man!"
It basically is getting down to brass tacks, and she is like the buoy is going to be unchained because the shark's like hitting it and attacking it, or whatever. So she's just holding on to it. I don't really understand the engineering and the physics of what's happening.
Right.
When it finally like she grabs the chain. The buoy gets knocked off it, and she's being drugged like down to where the buoy's attached underwater.
Yeah.
Do you understand it?
I think that the chain that's connecting the buoy to the system underground is on some kind of spring system, which is meant to keep the buoy in one location.
And upright, probably.
Right, because if it were just a normal chain or something that didn't have a pull to it, then when high tide came and it rose, the thing would be stretched out, and then when it shrank again,
it would like move all over.
Right, because it would be shorter, and so it would go really far.
Okay.
And to keep it in one location, it's like pulling with a string.
Okay, well,
so when it's separated,
and she hangs on to it, she's being pulled down.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what her like actual plan was for this. I don't know if she saw that there were spikes down there.
I feel like she must have had some idea. Otherwise, this is dumb.
Yeah, and the shark is like following her down and is going at such a breakneck speed that she like dodges at the last second, and the shark impales itself on these like spikes that are down there.
It's much like the Meg. It's cool, but it's
dumb.
Kind of dumb. Like, how did she know? How did the shark, even if there were no spikes, would slam into the ground? So, ow. Like, still, it would, like, not, I think the shark wouldn't do that.
I don't know. I think sharks have faster reflexes than that to impale themselves on some spikes.
Right. It was very weird. But, hey, she survives. She ends up getting rescued.
She washes up back to shore.
Yeah.
It's like we see her, like, a year later, and she's still surfing, which... Whatever.
You have to move on.
You don't have to. When it comes to that shit, you don't have to. Just like if you jumped out of a plane... and your parachute didn't go off, but you managed to survive, are you going to get back in that plane?
Some people would.
I think that's really dumb.
Maybe. Some people would say it's really dumb to jump out of a plane.
I'm one of those people.
Okay, great.
But whatever.
Would you go surfing with the sharks?
No.
Okay, well then, some people would. But that was Shallows. It was a really good movie, really well made.
Yeah, it was nice. I had never seen it.
Yeah.
So this was the only movie that I had never seen.
You'd heard about it and you said, we need to watch these movies, and you put The Shallows out there because you'd never seen it. I'd never seen it. Really surprised by it. Really pleasantly surprised.
Very good. We didn't do this in... Oh, yeah, we're still going in order. I'm so confused on what we're doing. Okay, the next movie that we watched is one of my favorites.
You love this movie.
I do.
You insist that we watch it every now and then.
Yeah, I bring it up, and every time I do, you're like, no.
I would rather not.
It's not a bad movie. What it is Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea, 1999. Yeah.
This has a 59%. So this is higher than the Meg.
So that's ridiculous.
That's what I thought.
This movie I won't get too hard on it, but it was directed by Rennie Harlan, who directed Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master,
Oh, okay.
and Die Hard 2.
And people like Die Hard too?
People don't like it as much as Die Hard's 1 or 3, but
Okay.
not nearly as bad as Die Hard 4.
Okay.
Die Hard 2, the subtitle Die Harder.
Yes.
Yes, that's real.
Dumb.
No, it's good.
No, it's dumb.
This
Movie, Deep Blue Sea, is about searching for a cure for Alzheimer's disease. A group of scientists on an isolated research facility become the prey as the trio of intelligent sharks fight back.
Oh no. Yeah, this movie has super intelligent sharks.
Yes, they are genetically modified that way.
Yeah.
First mistake.
Right.
Because let's take the scariest animal and make it even smarter.
Yeah. and this movie treats smartness like superpowers.
Yeah.
Because these sharks know things that, like, you can be smart. That's fine. You can be a smart shark. I don't care. Or a schmark, as I call it. But if you know things that anything that is smart shouldn't know because you can only know things that you know, that's where I draw the line.
Well, it's also saying that just because your brain is bigger, that you're smarter.
Right.
And we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
Because male brains, whereas they are
Okay.
bigger compared to women,
All right.
they are not smarter.
This is misandria that I agree
no, it's
with,
really,
but will not stand
it's
for.
It's absolutely not, because women have more connective tissue in their brains.
That's
therefore, their neurons can fire faster and they connect everything together.
Yeah, but men have more neurons. They just don't do anything with them.
Yeah, they just sit on their asses with
Right,
them.
they're just like, I don't know
So
what to do.
bigger brain doesn't always mean smarter.
That's true.
But apparently in this movie it does.
Right, because these sharks have big old brains, and they get mad at the humans because they're like, hey,
They're
I
being
like
trapped.
being experimented
and,
on.
Yeah, and then their brain juice is being sucked out.
Right. This movie has a big
Tested.
cast.
It does. Most notably, for me,
Yeah.
stars Thomas Jane,
Who
who I am absolutely always confusing with Aaron Eckhart.
Right.
Every fucking time.
Two-Face, and this
I
guy.
Frankenstein.
What's that?
I Frankenstein.
Right, and I Frankenstein from I Frankenstein. But yeah, he's not the same person. He does look very similar to him, and you always think that he's the same person.
I
and
always
it's funny.
do. He plays Carter.
Yeah.
He's like our
He plays Carter, you dick.
no, not that one.
sorry.
He plays Carter, the fish wrangler, the shark
Yes, a
wrangler.
fish wrangler.
Yeah.
He's the Jason Statham of this movie.
Yeah, very much so.
For sure.
He was Jason Statham before Jason Statham.
Right, that's true. Damn.
Damn.
That makes you think.
This movie also stars
Uh-huh.
Samuel L. Jackson,
yeah.
motherfucker himself.
That's right.
As the Finnegan of this one.
the financier. He was also just in a movie we saw recently, Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Yes.
Yeah. What's up, LL Cool J?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Random.
Yeah, he's very well.
But I do like his character in it, even though like now I watch it nowadays and I'm like, But I remember like watching this as when I was younger and like really liking this character.
Right, yeah. He's the comic relief for sure. And we also have Stellan Skarsgård,
Yeah.
who's in the Avengers movies,
Yeah.
which is fun.
Who is
he's in a
father
lot of other stuff,
to
too.
It himself.
Yeah, Billy Scars, as I call him.
He plays Pennywise in the newest renditions of It.
Yep.
We also
And,
have Michael Rappaport,
Right.
who I know the name, couldn't have told you who he was.
Well, he's Mr.
Now
New York
Now
himself.
I know.
He's super New York.
Yes, I think he's on, if I'm not mistaken, an episode of Sex in the City, but I might be wrong about that. That's like the only thing I've ever seen him in, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's it. Well, there's a few other people, but those are the main ones, and they are on this expedition to stop Alzheimer's from happening.
Yes,
Using
because
sharks.
because a shark's brain never ages and doesn't show signs of aging.
Yeah.
They think that they can harvest the proteins
Right.
from it and put it on, put it into people who have Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
and it will restore
and
the firing.
we see this
mechanisms.
happen in the movie. There's a scene. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, where they do this literal thing, where they
Yeah.
take a shark out of the water, they jam its brain with needle, They suck out brain juice from shark brain
They put it on a dead brain.
without any processing, without any
No, they
scientific
literally just
modifications. They just drop
shoot.
the brain juice on parts of another brain, a human brain, and they measure that brain, and neurons start firing. And this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, it is.
It has to be known that this is very dumb. Not that all these other movies didn't have dumb stuff too.
I
dumb.
agree. I think if I'm gonna rate the sharks,
Please do.
I think these are the scariest
You
sharks.
think these are the scariest sharks?
of the 4 movies that we watched.
Is it because they're so smart?
No, it's their visuals.
Mm.
These are mako sharks.
Yes, we've only dealt with the megalodon.
A megalodon
is its own species.
Yeah, it's its own thing. It was a great white in the shallows.
Yeah.
These are mako sharks, and spoilers, it's a great white shark in Jaws.
All of them are mackerel sharks, which is kind of broad genre of shark, which is interesting.
Right. Yeah, I just like their teeth. They like stick out farther from their mouths, and they're
Well,
so menacing, and
me
they're
tell
a
ya.
darker color, which
Yeah.
scares me as well.
Let me tell you, the scariest shark of all is the goblin shark. If you have not seen a goblin shark, it is.
I'm sitting here and I don't want you to show
I'm
it
not
to
going to show.
me.
I
Okay.
would never show you what a goblin shark looks like because you will never ever.
Sleep again.
Right? They're like designed to be nightmare fuel in the shark world, so you can just
I
imagine.
dare our audience to go and look it up.
Please do. They're-
Don't at me pictures of
Do
it. I
not.
will be
Do
so
not.
mad.
You'll get banned. So yeah, these are mako sharks, but they're super smart mako sharks. This one's smart enough to know, hey, I'm getting my brain needled in. I'm not happy about that. I'm gonna get mad, bite myself an arm.
Right. Whose arm?
Stellan,
Yes. Stellan Skarsgård.
Daddy Stellan.
Yeah. Rips. And that's the craziest thing.
Yeah, I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, it just like the shark's almost in like a half water, half air
Yeah.
pool that's like even with walking ground, and Stellan like kind of crouches down, lights a cigarette, and if it's fine. The shark that bites him because he's smoking, and smoking is bad.
Right. So it's good that it happens.
So he's like, "Oh, I see you hold that cigarette with your hand. I'm gonna just take your hand."
yeah,
right
I'll stop.
off."
Hey, smoking kills.
Yeah, and just bites the guy's arm off.
Right. So they're like, oh, geez, that's terrifying.
So Carter goes to jump out to shoot the shark.
Yeah, he goes to grab a gun.
And then the main scientist lady's like, "Fuck you, don't
like,
kill
"Stop."
this shark." And she hits the button and releases the shark
Yeah,
back
he goes
down.
back into the ocean. They're like, we got to get Stellan back up to get some help. So they there's a really intense scene. It's
Oh yeah,
super intense.
it's like hurricaning outside. They wheel him out. The helicopter's coming. They're airlifting him out. Well, while they're airlifting him out, the crane
Cable thing.
that reels him back up
breaks.
breaks and drops back down into the water.
Oh, no.
Of course, the shark's gonna come, grabs onto the gurney,
But he's still alive when this happens.
right, and is dragging the helicopter. I'm convinced
Yep.
that if you have a helicopter versus a shark, shark's always gonna win.
Yeah.
Always.
We were waiting for it in the Meg because there's several scenes of helicopters flying around. I was fully expecting
But they never really like stayed long.
Odd moment of subtlety for the Meg, but I was expecting the Meg to jump out of the water and eat the helicopter.
Right.
I was waiting for it. Never happens. To chomp rather on the chopper.
Chomp that chopper.
Chomp that chopper. Get to the chomper.
And so the helicopter is then slammed into the
Research station.
right and explodes.
Yep. Big boom. Meanwhile, down below, under the sea, if you will, the shark.
the sea.
Yeah, the shark launches Stellan Skarsgård on the gurney at the window of the research station, the lab area where everybody else is, and breaks through the window.
Which would never happen.
Yeah, why is this thing not like this thing is built to withstand the pressure of the ocean? I think it can handle getting a gurney thrown at it, but whatever. Breaks and floods the thing, and so now it's basically just a survival like
Right. We
disaster
only have
movie.
these like 5-6 characters, and it's like, okay, well, get up to the top.
Right,
And they
the,
go through all of these.
stairways are flooded. So how do we get up
so they
there?
go-
We have to go
and the cook, LL Cool J, he plays the cook. He's got this bird,
through- yeah.
and he's constantly in the kitchen, and this fucking bird's just like flying around the kitchen. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
This is filthy. This is so unsanitary.
I know they just put this bird in there so he would have someone to talk against for like while he's alone in this movie, but like that's disgusting.
Yeah, and
I'm not a huge bird fan, so like already like
the only good bird is Steven Seagal from
I
Shadows.
didn't mind that bird.
That was
And
a
I
cute bird.
really don't like seagulls because they're assholes.
They are. But this bird, I don't like this bird. I'm glad it gets eaten. Spoilers, it gets eaten.
yeah,
I'm happy about it.
Those are the craziest scenes. Is like at one point LL Cool J, the kitchen floods, and the shark, one of the sharks, there's 3 sharks, gets in there and kind of pushes him towards and puts him in the oven and somehow turns the oven on.
Yeah,
he's gonna cook him, but he escapes and electrocutes. No, he doesn't. He sets that shark on fire.
Right,
so that's
'cause
how that shark dies.
Yeah, he blows it up. By the way, I have a note here that I forgot about. We have to go back to when Stellan Skarsgård got his arm bit off.
Yeah.
He gets his arm bit off by the shark. Years later, Bill Skarsgård, his son, would bite off the arm of Georgie in It Chapter 1.
And then wave it around.
Yes.
I hate that scene.
You do.
I hate it so much.
But odd little bit of parallelism there. Like father, like
that
son.
is really funny.
So there you go.
So there's that. So then they're trying to get up to the surface and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the main scientist lady, Susie,
Yeah.
Susan. It's her, like she goes by Susie. Is like, I gotta grab my like
Yeah, she goes off to her room to get her notes, her research notes.
right, which are on a, what do you call it? A backup system.
Yeah. Because by the way, the whole thing about her, they have genetically engineered these sharks to be smarter, which is not known. This is a twist.
Which is illegal.
Yeah, it violates Geneva Convention or whatever. Not Geneva Convention, but some
I was
kind of
gonna say it's
convention.
not the Geneva Convention.
But yeah, they it's a secret. So spoilers.
Right. And it just so happens that even though Samuel L. Jackson is touring, or no, he's like funding the thing, he just happens to be there and is taking a tour of it at that point.
Yeah, he's not usually here.
So she is going to get her notes back, and one of the sharks is in her room that's flooded. And she, of course, because this woman is gorgeous, like we have to have her take off her swimsuit, stand on it because it's made of rubber, even though she has goddamn rubber shoes on, and
to ground herself,
and throws like live wire into the water to electrocute one of the sharks.
Zap it. And so there's only one down to go. Although I feel like the scene that we need to talk about happens earlier in the movie.
Yes, it does.
So there's a scene where we finally get this moment where they're like, all right, we're sick of all this. We have to deal with the sharks. And Sam Jackson stands up and he's like, listen, here's what's going to go down. We're going to do this. You're going to go over there. You're going to go over there. We're going to get out of here. And as he's delivering this amazing speech where he's, getting all...
he's like, we can't fight against each other, because he had been in like a ski accident with all these people. And that's what like everyone knows him for. He's like, there was a ski accident. He's like, yeah, 7 people survived that ski accident, but only 5 made it out because these motherfuckers were fighting against each other and we killed him.
Right.
So
he said 5 people went into the ice. No, 7 people went into the ice.
Left the ice, but only 5 made it all the way out.
Ice got the people got the rest.
Yeah. So, but then, like, you're right. Apex of this awesome speech. You're like, yes, they're gonna make it. They're gonna get through.
It's very rousing. Giant shark comes out of the
leaps out of the pool
and bites him and kills him and pulls him in. Sam Jackson dies in this movie, like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Completely unexpected. It is an amazing scene.
It looks crappy,
it
but
looks terrible.
The effect that it leaves you with is great.
It is the best scene in the movie, hands down. Anyway, that happens. There's only one shark left, and they're like, we got to get out of here. And they whittle them down. Everybody dies one by one. Except
for Carter, Susie, and LL Cool J.
Right, the cook.
Preacher.
His name is Preach. Yeah. They end up getting to the top, and they're like, all right, that thing's going to get out into the ocean. Now, here's my big problem with this, is that they're on this research station in the middle of the ocean. They're not near people. They're nowhere near any civilization. A shark doesn't have endless hunting grounds.
Nice. Sick reference.
It's only going to be able to like eat the sharks and other food that are like are nearby around them. just leave the shark be.
Because it's fenced in. Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
no, because it's going to get out of the fence. It's escaping. But then, like, it's just going to be in the open ocean.
It's an intelligent shark, Alexander.
Who cares? I don't care about that. Let it be an intelligent shark in the middle of the ocean, far away from people.
Well, we saw at the beginning of the movie that it targets humans and kills them.
Yeah.
Because one had gotten out.
Sure, but again, it's so far away. It just seems to me that like there's no reason to like we have to
It
stop
would
the shark
upset.
and kill it.
I think much like the Meg, it would upset the ecosystem of the ocean
Maybe.
because it would just be like just a killing machine, more so than just eating.
Sure. Maybe.
So anyway, they do get up to the top.
Yeah.
But they find out that the sharks have like purposefully flooded everything
Yeah.
so that they can get closer to the top of the fence so that they can escape. And there's only this one left.
Right.
And Carter, of course, is like, okay, well, let's blow this fucker up.
Right.
And not by now, Susie's like, yeah, she's got to die. But
So he rigs up this thing with a harpoon, cable, and at the end of it, it's a battery. It's going to explode.
correct.
Yeah. So he's like, we'll shoot it. He's like, Susie, here, take this battery. I'm going to shoot it. Once the thing gets shot with the harpoon, hit it with the battery. All right? She says, okay. He's like, I'm going to go do this. He gets in the water. He's going after the shark.
He doesn't get in the water yet.
Right. But he's like, I'm going to go after the shark. And Susie's like, oh, okay, I will. And then she immediately leaves.
Well, because he can't get a shot on it for some reason, the
Right.
shark.
He's having
And
a
so
hard
she's
time.
like, we need to get the shark closer to us. I'm going to go in his live bait. She cuts her hand, jumps
Yeah.
in.
Okay, yeah.
Stupid woman.
Right. And she swims out like halfway.
Yeah, like why would, if you're going to get in the water,
Right. Which don't do that.
don't leave the ladder.
Right.
Like, or just cut your hand and fucking drain it into
Right,
the
right,
water.
and make a scene because like the shark wants to eat people, so it's like attracting with people. But
like,
just
don't
lean
swim
into the
out.
water and splash around and then get out. Yeah, don't swim like halfway there and then the shark comes towards her and she's trying to get back away. She doesn't. She gets eaten and dies.
Right, and that's when
Good.
Carter jumps in because he's trying to save her.
Right.
So then LL Cool J, who had gotten bit in the leg like while they were escaping or whatever, is like trying to shoot the harpoon in because now the shark's made a hole in the fence and he's gonna get out. And he, Carter's like hanging on to the back fin, and he shoots it through the shark and Carter's
Yeah.
leg.
Ow.
And, but
The shark eventually does get out, like escapes, and Carter grabs onto the fence, and the thing swims away. And they're like, "Oh no!" But then LL Cool J's
it's like, oh, zap,
touch,
and boom, this big explosion.
yeah, boom,
Apparently, that's another way you can kill a shark.
is to explode it. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll put
Yeah.
that in my back
Yeah.
pocket.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, you love this movie.
I do. It's fun.
Whenever we watch it, I just like, I don't know, my eyes glaze over. It just kind of doesn't do a lot for me, but it's certainly not the worst movie we've ever seen.
It's just the sharks. They're just the skin is like so dark blue.
Ugh, yeah.
And they're just like they're just so scary.
Sure,
And they think
they do.
and they know.
They remember.
They remember. But yeah, let's get all that out of the way.
Yeah, those were movies. All right,
'Cause
we've
they
seen
don't
movies.
count.
Yeah.
If you're gonna talk about a shark movie,
You
the
know
only
which
movie
one.
you need to
Yeah,
talk
absolutely.
about.
Is Jaws: The Revenge. Okay, so Michael
No.
Caine.
No,
We're not talking
no.
about Jaws: The Revenge.
No,
Jaws
we are
4?
not.
Okay.
We are talking about 1975's
Oh my god.
Jaws.
Okay, so this movie is good.
Directed
Like-
by Steven Spielberg
Spielberg.
when he was 27 years
my
old.
God.
Alex, I know that hurts you to hear
I hate to hear it. I hate to think of
because
it.
I know you feel like an idiot that you're 27.
What am I doing?
And what have you accomplished?
What am I doing not directing Jaws right now? How could I be messing up so much?
You know
that I'm
what?
not
He
directing
didn't know
Jaws?
he was directing
That's true.
Jaws
He-
during this whole thing.
He
either.
thought he was making a terrible mistake.
Right.
This is a classic movie.
Yeah. Capital C classic.
It's a good movie.
It is my second favorite movie
Yeah.
of all time, behind Jurassic Park, which is also a Steven Spielberg.
Jurassic
So I
Park
have
is
a type.
special. Mhm.
But I saw this movie too young.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But it's one of my mom's favorite movies. So it's going to be on.
Right.
But Alex, I tell you, like the deep rootedness of like, and kids, I see it all the time. They're scared of something, but they're so fascinated
Well,
with
you're
it at the same time.
This is why people like horror movies.
Right. And I had really never understood that, but I understand it with Jaws.
Yeah.
Because it is, I am terrified of sharks, but I love everything about sharks.
Right. Well, they're fascinating.
Yeah.
And scary.
Yeah. So like this movie is just so I remember like just I don't even know how old I was. Maybe 8.
Mm-hmm.
And we would watch it like at least once a year.
Yeah.
But most likely more. Mainly watched it like near 4th of July.
Which makes sense.
Because it's a 4th of July movie. I consider it to be anyway. So it's very weird to watch it in like October. It's like
Right.
getting chilly outside and I'm just like, oh yeah, let's watch Jaws. Like,
Yeah, a movie that you're supposed to be like going out for hot dogs and
Right.
swimming
But,
in the
like-
ocean and be scared of.
But yeah, like I tell you what, like I didn't like swimming in swimming pools because
Yeah.
of Jaws, and I
There-
didn't like
There are people who
really
couldn't
go
take a shower.
and I was very cautious. I live in Michigan, so like if I'm going in a Great Lake, I wasn't as scared, but you think about it. But I do,
well, the
used
whole
to-
point is you can't see under the water. You don't know what's down
yeah,
there.
you can't see it. And honestly, I didn't even like taking baths.
Yeah.
Like this was the point where I was like
Right.
showers only. And even I was scared of showers
Well, that's what I'm
because
saying,
the
yeah.
shower head will turn into a shark because your back's to it.
Mm,
Like
Okay.
the things I manifest in my mind
that's true.
are so stupid.
Well,
But-
the brain is a wonderful thing, especially if it's infused with shark brain juice. And it
Yeah,
heals
which I
itself,
think mine was.
probably.
So yes.
This is a great movie. So much like Matt Hooper, he saw a shark when he was younger.
and Quint
Yep.
in this movie. Let's talk about these characters. First of all, we have starring Roy Scheider,
yeah,
who plays Sheriff Martin Brody,
yeah,
who is now a new addition, like the new sheriff to Amity Island.
right. It's his first year there. He comes from
New York.
just regular New York. Amityville Island is in New York, but it's he comes from the
But
mainland.
this is like just Amity,
Right.
which is a fictional thing, which I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Right.
I think when we were talking about like ghost movies or whatever, and we talked about Amityville Horror, I'm like, no, it's the same goddamn place.
Right.
It's not.
Unfortunately, it's Martha's Vineyard is
Is
the
where they
island that it,
is where
was
they
filmed.
filmed everything. We also have Richard Dreyfuss,
Yeah.
who plays the ichthyologist,
Ichthyologist or ichthyologist?
ichthyologist
Yeah.
Matt Hooper,
He's a marine biologist.
right? Who specifically studies sharks.
Right.
And then rounding out this trio, we
Mm-hmm.
have Robert Shaw, who plays Quint.
Yeah. And these are all amazing performances that these guys give.
Yes. I guess Richard Dreyfuss was disappointed in his performance, but he like blamed and didn't blame.
Robert
like,
Shaw?
well, no. I mean, yeah, he had beef with Robert Shaw throughout the whole thing, but he like blamed and not blamed, just like how hard it was to film because they were on the ocean and like
yeah.
everything that went wrong with that. He's like the team was so focused on that like my character wasn't developed because of it.
Well,
And I'm just like, develop your own fucking character. You're a goddamn professional actor.
right. Richard Dreyfuss seems like a complainer.
Oh, he's very much a complainer.
Just every interview we see with him, he just seems like he's just complaining about something.
He's like, and he even said he didn't even want to be in this movie.
right.
He's like, it's gonna be a bitch to shoot because they were actually gonna film it in the Atlantic Ocean,
Which they did, yeah.
and
And it was actually. It was a very tough movie to shoot.
yeah. And so he was like, I don't want to do it. But then a movie had come out that completely tanked, and he's like, shit, I gotta find work.
Right. So he did
And so
this.
he like begged Steven Spielberg to let him in it again.
Mhm, yeah. And paid off for him, I'd say. This was a phenomenally well received movie. Like,
Well,
critically, financially, box
It
office.
was so different.
Yeah.
We'll get into why it was such an impact on the film industry.
Right, for sure.
But I don't think you go anywhere.
Nope. You don't. You stay right here.
You stay in the deep blue. But you can't talk about Jaws without talking about John Williams
Oh, no.
and
no.
the score that goes along with this.
Oh, it's so
we
impactful.
touched on it when we talked about Psycho. The like
Yep.
and how if you take it down lower into bum 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 bum
yeah.
bum bum, and how scary that music is
It's-
and iconic.
It's intense. It's very suspenseful. It's very
like your heartbeat
right. It's
speeding up.
right. It's effective for sure.
Yes, like everyone knows it. Bum 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 bum. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It's so good. I can't believe that people just like pull this out of their minds and their asses and just like, here it is. This is the score to this, and it just is like, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it works. Absolutely.
John Williams is crazy good. I
he's
can't believe how
a
much of his
legend.
music
Yeah, well,
is.
there's a reason that he works on some of the biggest movies of all time, and also there's a reason those movies were as big as they were. They go
I
hand
think
in
they
hand.
go in tandem
Yep,
for sure.
For sure. He's really good. This movie's really good. It's about the sheriff who he's in this small town, and things start to happen, much like a Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks watch.
Oh, here we go.
A scary murder happens in a small town, and it sets off the whole thing. I couldn't really find any actors.
Was that it?
Yeah.
I asked you specifically. I'm like, do you have a Twin Peaks watch? And you're like, you'll see.
I said, you'll see.
So you're just like drawing lines between the stories.
Listen, Twin Peaks.
Listen.
Twin Peaks is institution. All right, it's not just the actors who make it up. Okay, a movie isn't just about the actors. Okay, it's also about the plot of the movie. Okay.
Let's talk about the plot.
Let's do it.
Opening scene.
Yeah.
It's nighttime. All these hooligans are on the beach.
These hooligans. This movie, as much as people might not want to say that it's like a horror movie because it's an adventure movie, it's like
it's a straight
drama.
up horror movie.
It is.
I don't know why people ever say that it's not.
It starts like a slasher movie. You have the drunk victims that are going out for some shenanigans,
right?
And they get killed for it.
We have Chrissy, who is running off with this one guy who is too intoxicated and falls over on the beach trying to get undressed. She's like, screw that, gets undressed, goes into the water at night.
Yep.
Never fucking do this, people.
Yeah, don't go into the water, ever.
Don't ever do this.
Yeah.
So she swims out, and you get just these great shots from her underneath, much like Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes, I was thinking that too. It's very much like that because you see this underwater shots. Well, earlier you see all these shots of something like swimming under the water. It's like a first person shot from the shark's perspective. So you just immediately get the sense of something like hunting or being on the lookout, and it's creepy. And then so this girl's out in the water. You see her feet, you see her legs flailing around, and this music starts, and it's like, oh, so scary already.
Right. And she's just like, so she's calling to the guy on the beach, like having a good time, and then all of a sudden, she like kind of gets tugged down a little bit.
Right.
And don't you think immediately like she would start screaming because like something bit her, obviously, to pull her down?
I always wonder about that. I'm like, what, did the shark grab her with its fin?
That's I almost think it just like grabbed like her toe and was like throwing her back and forth.
Maybe. Because at first she just kind of gets tugged under and she's like, huh, what was that? The only thing the shark could have done was bit her. I feel like, yeah, you're right. She'd be more freaked out at that point.
And I don't think sharks would do this.
Right. No.
But nonetheless,
it's scary.
It's very scary because it's at night. The water is black. You can't see a thing.
Nope.
And this woman eventually just gets thrown side to side to side.
Oh, these scenes are crazy.
They wanted, of course, this to be the beautiful woman that dies.
Yeah.
Because nobody pays attention unless a beautiful woman dies.
Right.
And that's honestly true.
Twin Peaks watch.
So they hired this person who like trained tigers and like all this other stuff, which I think is perfect because if you had just hired an actress off the street, it never would have been as effective.
No, not at all. If she had trained tiger sharks, it would have been an even different story, but no. Yeah, and she's getting pulled back and forth by, it ended up, in real life, there were like 10 people on either side of her with a rope pulling her back and forth.
And she had like a release, which I think, I'm like, thank God, because like so many movies get made, especially in the 70s and the 80s, they just didn't care about their actors. They're like, oh, they might die, who cares? But like this girl had like a ripcord that if any moment she's like, something hurts. Yep. Like, so I guess there's like rumors that she's screaming so hard because she like hurt her back.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Right.
Like not at all true. She's done tons of interviews where she's like, that didn't happen.
Yeah. But she dies.
Yes, she's eventually screaming for God, almost like, God, make it stop, and she gets pulled under.
Right. And
great opening scene.
It's very effective. It's very scary, and that kicks off this thing where next day Sheriff Brody goes out and
because the guy who was drunk on the beach is like, oh, we can't find her.
Right. So they go and they find her body the next day. And
some of it
on the beach. And they're like, oh, okay, well, this is bad. He goes back and he types in his typewriter.
Well, he's on the phone with the coroner.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, what do you think the cause of death is? And the coroner himself must say on the phone, like, shark attack.
Right.
Has to be. So it's like, okay, well, I live on an island.
There's going to be a lot of people swimming.
So we better close the beaches,
yeah,
right?
we got to close the beaches.
And they don't even have signs that say beaches are closed because they don't close the beaches
Right.
because it's an island and that's where you get your revenue from.
Just the writing in this.
Yeah.
The writing in this movie is so good because they have these scenes where it's like, where are the beach closed signs?
And he's like,
And
we don't have any.
Nobody knows where they are because
Right.
they never have to break them
So
out.
they're like making signs, and Sheriff Brody's like running all over town, like, oh, the Boy Scouts are out swimming. Oh, he goes out there to try and stop them, but the mayor catches up with him.
Yeah. This
And
mayor.
it's like,
This mayor in his jacket.
jackets. There's many of them, but
Yeah.
specifically the anchor one. I know
The
that's
anchor one
the
is
one you're
great.
talking
I
about.
I want that jacket.
Is like, I hear you're trying to close the beaches,
Yeah.
and it's like the week before 4th of July.
Right.
And Sheriff Brody's like, yeah, a girl was killed this morning by a fucking shark.
And the coroner who is there
Who is now
like,
who
it's
the
like, bip, 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 bip. Not a shark.
It could have been a boating accident. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like she could have been ripped apart by the propeller.
Sure.
And of course the sheriff's like, you didn't tell me that this morning.
Right.
But the mayor's like, now, let's not cause a panic, because if you yell boating accident, nobody cares, or whatever he said, like School of Marlin, whatever he said.
fine.
He's like,
If you
but
yell
if you
shark
yell shark, you're gonna have a panic on your hands for the 4th of July.
And then, baby, you got a stew going.
And everyone will hate you because everybody's business on the island is from the tourists that come.
Yeah. They're a swimmer's paradise.
Right.
People go there to surf and to swim and not get eaten by sharks. So zip your lips when it comes to the shark nonsense, okay?
So it basically, like, he's like, you can't shut the beaches down.
No,
and
not gonna
Sheriff's
happen.
like, okay. Now, why that day or the next day or whatever, Sheriff Brody would even go to the beach with his family?
Yes, with his family. And why have everyone else there? That's true. He does go to make sure everyone's okay, but yeah. Why
Right.
is his
He's
family
sitting there. He's not in his uniform or anything. He's just sitting on the beach. But you can tell he's like watching. This is a
Great scene. Yeah.
Of him like watching people and like, oh, is that a shark? Oh, there's like a bunch of red herrings that go
Yeah.
on. But unfortunately, the red herring does not herring
Yeah.
Alex Kittner.
No, I hate this. Why is his name got to be Alex?
That's what it is, man.
Little Alex boy gets killed.
Yeah.
They kill a kid in this movie.
Yeah, they straight up kill a kid.
It's crazy.
He goes out on his raft
Uh-huh.
and he goes way, way out. Don't go far out. Like,
Yeah.
just don't do it.
Right. Stay on the stay in
And
the
there's a
shallows.
million people
Nothing
on
bad ever happened in the shallows.
Yeah, there's a million people on this beach and they all see this kid
Yeah.
just get geysers of blood
Ugh,
ripped out of him
awful.
and sunk to the bottom of the sea or whatever.
Yeah, despite
he also
this-
eats a dog,
Oh yeah.
which is
that
fucked up.
sucks.
Stupid shark.
Ugh, I hate it. Despite this happening later in the movie, people are still out there, go out into the water.
Dumb.
Yeah.
So dumb.
well, this
Well-
whole thing is extremely foretelling of the times that we live in now. Like the parallels between Jaws and the COVID pandemic.
I remember,
are, like,
and this is
strong.
terrible, but I do remember
Mhm.
when it was like, it must have been like the end of March,
Yeah.
and Trump had said
Oh God.
the USA will be open for Easter.
Right.
Like everything will be back to normal by Easter.
Uh-huh.
And everybody made the meme of
Yep.
Trump is the mayor from Jaws that
Absolutely.
wants the beaches to stay open.
Right.
And I will
100%.
never forget that.
Yeah, 100%. And just the idea of like the public also going along with it and not being like, yeah, sure, the mayor has the beaches open,
Right,
but
because
like,
he has our best interest at heart.
yeah, they're listening to him and they're like, yeah, we'll go. Later in the movie, the mayor is trying to get people into the water, and he's just like, come on, just get
Right.
into the water.
So Alex Kittner dies.
Mm.
And so now now it's like, okay, everybody saw this shark attack.
Yeah.
So now let's gather everybody up and we're going to decide what we're going to do. There's a $3,000
Yeah.
bounty from Alex Kittner's mother if someone kills that shark.
Mm-hmm.
But the mayor's there, Sheriff Brody's there, all the townspeople who have businesses are there. And Brody's like, we're going to shut these beaches down
Yeah.
until we get this shark. And the mayor's like, we're only going to shut him down for 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And in the background, of course, you hear 24 hours is like 3 weeks.
Yeah, greatest line in all these movies.
But then
So funny.
also in the background, we get a of nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, that was the perfect nails on a chalkboard sound.
Thank you. What would you have done?
I don't know. But no, it's Quint.
Yes,
My
who has
boy.
done a good little doodle on
Yeah.
the chalk. I wonder if it was him.
It has to have been. It has
He
to have
does
been
this
him.
cute little doodle of this huge shark with a person in its mouth, and
Yeah.
he gives this speech of just like, I'll get the shark for you, but it's not going to be $3,000. It's going to be $10,000, and
For that you get the head, the tail,
and the whole
damn thing. Great.
because he's just a grizzly old man.
He is. He's a seafarer for sure. He's got 2 peg legs, 2 peg
No,
arms.
he doesn't.
He's like that character from Family Guy. He's got 2 eye patches. He can't see because he got 2 eye patches.
Right.
But no, he wants to be the one to take the shark out. But the sheriff doesn't want to pay because he doesn't want to pay money to get this. He's like, we'll take care of it. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. The people will go out for $3,000 that apparently the Kittners are going to pay.
Right.
And fuck it.
Yeah.
So they do.
Yep. They try to find this thing.
Right. But before that, we get this other scene. Sheriff Brody's son, they gave him a boat for his birthday.
Mm.
And he's out just kind of sitting on the pier and that type of stuff. And Sheriff Brody's like flipping through this. And then this movie taught us about sharks.
Did it?
And how that they have, that they're attracted to like waves or
Yeah,
distress signals in the water. And so you're not supposed to splash, and they're attracted to blood. Like this movie taught us all of that.
Wow. Yeah. Well, sharks weren't like a big thing.
No, nobody ever thought about sharks.
Who would? They're scary. Why'd you think about sharks?
Right. Like,
But yeah, he's on the boat, and the Sheriff Brody's like, "Hey, you shouldn't be in there." And Mom's like, "Just let him have his fun. He's not out in the water or anything."
right.
It's
Because he was
fine."
there and he saw that kid get eaten by that shark too. So
Right.
he's never going to go back in the water.
Yeah.
And then she's flipping through the book. She finds this picture of this shark like going up through the bottom
Yeah,
of a boat.
breaking
And she's
through
like,
the boat.
Michael,
Get
did you
out of
hear
that-
your father? Get
Right.
out of the boat now. So that's a cute scene.
Yeah,
but
you
okay,
like
so
that.
then all these other people are getting in their boats and they're like, we're going to go find this shark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They don't. They do find.
Spoilers, they don't.
They find a shark.
Right. And they kill a shark. And if I ever meet Steven Spielberg, am going to ask him if that was a real shark.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Because it looks very, very real.
Right. Well,
now, granted, I did absolutely no research.
that's not
on that.
true. We did a lot of research. We just didn't
I
find that.
I didn't research that at all.
Yeah. I think it's not a real shark that they just.
I think
made
it
look
is.
good.
I think it's a real shark.
But it. Yep. They find the shark. So they have Matt Hooper come in.
So then
who's
Matt Hooper comes.
the ichthyologist, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to
Chew
kick
bubble
ass
gum."
and chew bubble gum." And
No, I'm tired to tell you what's going on.
Right.
He examines the body of the first victim, and
he determines that this was not a boat
he's
accident.
like, and that's a great scene too. This was not a boating accident, you motherfucking idiot,
Right.
coroner. This was straight up a shark attack.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But he determines that the bite radius on this shark that killed the girl is probably about like 1.5 yards wide.
It's a big bite radius.
Yeah, and the shark that they found is probably
Much smaller.
like 1.5 feet.
Sure.
So he's like, this is not your shark.
Unfortunately, you still have a shark problem.
Right. But the town doesn't hear that. The town only hears, we caught the shark. They put it in the newspaper. They caught the shark. Whatever.
Yeah.
So Brody's like, there's still a shark problem.
Right. We got to deal with it.
And the mayor's like, do whatever you got to do to keep it safe, but those beaches will be open.
God, this mayor.
So from there, Matt Hooper's like, I'll prove to you that this isn't the shark. Let's cut it open.
Right.
And the mayor's like, you're not doing that here right now. I don't know
Yeah.
why they just don't take it someplace and do that.
Which I'm sure that might have been what they were going to do, which
Right.
it's very weird that he's like, you're not going to do that here right now. It's
Right.
like, yeah, of course. I wasn't going to.
Because he thinks the Kittner boy's going to be in there and his dead body's just going to fly
Right.
out of there.
Mm-hmm.
We do get this other good scene where Mrs. Kittner comes
Oh, yeah.
up to Sheriff Brody and like
Slaps him.
smacks him across the face and is like, I heard that a young woman died the day before my son died from a shark attack and you did nothing. And you had said, and I never really thought about it.
Uh-huh.
You had mentioned, you're like, and at that moment, if I was Sheriff Brody, I would have looked right at the mayor and been like, That was his call.
Right. The mayor is
Like,
right over there.
I would have thrown him under the bus so fast.
Because this guy literally was like, okay, something bad happened. We have to keep anybody else from
Right.
getting hurt.
I would have been
Close
like,
the
I
beaches."
tried to close the beaches, lady. I'm
Right.
really sorry that your son died, but blame the fucking mayor.
Like, I get that this is Brody's movie and he's the main character and it is his fault
Right.
from that perspective. And so he has to feel bad about it. But at the same time, literally, he tried to close the beaches.
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah, so they end up.
So he gets
sneaking-
drunk with Matt Hooper,
Right.
and they go down there and they cut the shark open. Nothing's in it but some milk and some fish.
Yeah, it's disgusting. This thing is
It's
like.
a good scene
it's
though, because I
white.
believe it, because they're like huffing and puffing like it stinks and whatever.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, this is not the shark for sure. So what are we going to do? Let's go out there. Let's go out there into the ocean and see what we can see. So they go out there into the ocean and they find a boat, Ben Gardner's boat.
They do.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I
get-
think I mentioned this in a different
You did,
episode,
yeah.
that I don't watch this scene.
Nope. You always close your eyes.
I don't like it. It's the same thing as like The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the face that comes out. And whose face comes out? Ben Gardner's.
Ben Gardner's face.
Which is so like, what happened?
He got
that
attacked by
body
a shark,
would,
but-
that body would still be there.
I don't know.
What happened?
Yeah, they find a giant shark tooth in there.
Yeah.
But he drops it because he gets scared by the head.
That pops out. Yeah.
And yeah, they're like, okay, well, we definitely have a shark.
Okay. It's 4th of July.
Yep.
All the tourists are coming in. They do have a bunch of boats out there watching,
Helicopters.
helicopters scanning. They got the lifeguards in the shark tower, like looking. Just everybody's on alert.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's in the water. And this is like when the mayor's like to his friend, like, get in the fucking water.
Yeah.
So everybody else will get in the water.
Right. Even though, again, everybody saw Alex Kittner get eaten.
Oh, well, the tourists didn't.
Still.
The tourists only get like the newspaper article that was like, boy killed in shark attack. Town also killed shark.
yeah. And
So
they
they're
have-
like, oh, good, it's safe.
And they have a news announcer who's there, played by.
The author of the book,
Right.
Jaws.
He's like, this perfect party is about to be overcast by a cloud. A cloud in the shape of a killer shark. Which you and I had a field day with.
Because it was just so dumb that
Yeah.
like the words that and I'm like, oh, you wrote the book? Did you write that line too?
Right.
So stupid.
Nothing has ever been scarier or more interesting than this.
Than a shark.
Than this cloud in the shape of a killer shark.
Right. Okay. So like everybody's on high alert. People do start going into the water,
Slowly but surely.
which is like ringing the dinner bell.
Mm-hmm.
Ding, 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 ding.
Time to eat. Shark's like, Timmy's rumbling.
But before that,
Yeah.
these two asshole kids.
These kids, I hate these
This is a good way to die.
Yeah.
Like a straight up good way
yeah.
to get killed.
Yeah.
They like make this like big shark fin and they're like, swimming around with the people. So they all start panicking
Right.
and the lifeguard starts panicking and like blows it. Everybody's trampling everybody to get out of the water. And it's just these two asshole kids with this fin.
Right.
And of course, Sheriff Brody's there. He's like, God damn it. Like, we don't want to upset people over nothing, but if it is something. So like then this other just like I think marijuana lady,
And this hippie.
yeah, this straight up hippie
Sees the real shark.
is in the pond that's like an offshoot of the
I don't understand
ocean.
but
it's
there's
just
a
an
pond.
offshoot,
It's
yeah.
it's like
And he's like,
not connected.
The shark's in the pond. Like she's
shark.
straight up like an idiot. Like she's like, the shark's in the pond, man. and the sheriff's like, whatever. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I
but
don't
then his
care.
wife's like, your son's in the pond, so you better go fucking
Oh,
check.
I care now.
Yeah.
They go out there. The kid's fine, but another dude gets eat.
Yeah. And this is kind of the first time we see the shark.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
It like
It's
swims up.
way down deep, but you get to see like how big the mouth is on this shark.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Bites this guy's leg, falls to the ground.
Yeah, and
That's
you see
crazy.
that.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Ugh. This movie's intense for when it came out.
Yeah, because there wasn't a PG-13 rating.
No, this movie's rated PG.
Yeah.
So,
Never would I let my kid go and watch this.
right, not at all.
No.
But the kid's fine, and so they're like, all right, well, now we gotta. This is where Brody says, all right, I love the scene with him
Oh,
and the
yeah.
mayor where he's like, here's what you're gonna do, mayor. He's like leading him on.
Well, he's almost like threatening him because
Yeah.
they're at the hospital because Sheriff Brody's son, Mike, it basically went into shock,
Yeah.
like watching this guy get killed by the shark.
right in front of him.
So the mayor's there, and he like sheriff brings him into a room, pulls the curtain so it's like super bright. He's like, "What you're gonna do? You're gonna sign this paper so Quint can kill the fucking shark.
You're gonna hire Quint to kill the shark, and you're gonna do it right now
because you're the mayor of Shark City, and everybody fucking hates you right now."
Right.
And the mayor's just like,
they do.
"I was only acting in the town's bank." He's like, and that's what you're gonna do right now. You're gonna sign this right now.
Right.
It's a very good scene.
I do wish though this movie, it feels very bifurcated, if you will, between the first half of the movie and the second half.
Yeah, well, it's just like Scream.
What?
It's just like Scream.
How's it like Scream?
Well, the beginning of Scream, you have like all the setups and all the good stuff, and then the second half just takes place at Stu's house.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
So bite on that,
well, I'm just
sir.
saying,
and that's your favorite scary movie.
It is a great scary movie. I'm just saying, like, the second half of this movie only has the three characters. They're out in the ocean, and so all of the stuff with like the mayor and the city,
you mean it never like wraps up?
Well, it does. It just wraps up early. I think that's the scene where the mayor has his like comeuppance, where he feels guilty, and he's like, "Oh, I was just doing what I thought was right," and he has to pay money or whatever. But
right.
I wish that came a little later. I wish it was more impactful, like the mayor getting his comeuppance. I wish he got eaten by the shark. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I
wish the
too.
mayor got eaten by the shark. That would have been the best. But
he doesn't even get eaten by the shark in the second movie, which makes me mad, which we won't be talking about today.
No.
But so, yeah, you're right. They hire Quint.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Hooper decides to go because the shark seems to be so big, and he's like, I got to
he's
study
a shark
it.
expert.
Right. Why Sheriff Brody went, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I guess just to make sure that things got done.
Maybe. I guess it's like
because he hates the water. So that makes me think like, I don't even really think you'd be on this boat.
Right. They are the only like sane people on the island who are capable of doing this, I guess.
Apparently.
And they're like, it's better to have three people than two, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because apparently the shark's big.
It's a big shark. So the three of them go out and they get it. They do it. End of movie.
No.
Roll credits.
I mean, like you said, it's like almost the second half of the movie. We spent a lot of time on this boat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They're chumming.
They're all chums.
They're yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And all this good stuff.
Some friends become enemies. Some enemies become friends.
Maybe. But the first time that we really see like the head of the shark.
Yeah.
Sheriff Brody's like mumbling to himself while he's chumming. He's like, "Yeah, come down here and shovel some of this shit because it's nasty and disgusting." And this was a good scene too. And I remember watching it. Like the shark just boom comes out of nowhere, and his head's just there, and like Brody like shit, and like
he shoots
like,
up into frame. It's a very funny shot.
Turns to Quint and is like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat," which apparently was like an ad-libbed line from Roy Scheider, which I think is brilliant. I'm like, everybody loves it. Love stuff like
classic
that.
Classic line.
Like, we're gonna need a bigger boat. They determined that the shark is 25 foot.
It's a long shark. Not as long as 75 feet.
No, it's not as big as a megalodon, but yeah, that's a big shark.
It's a big ass shark. And a big ass shark. The shark's thick.
It is. Its name was Bruce while filming.
Bruce,
because apparently that was Steven Spielberg's lawyer's name.
Yeah. 27-year-old with a lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. Should I have a lawyer?
I think you would have a lawyer if you were in Hollywood making
maybe.
movies
That's
and were
true.
signing contracts all the time.
Way
I
to
think
rub
you
it
would
in.
have a lawyer. Sorry. Not sorry. They get like 3 barrels on this shark.
Yeah, they're attaching barrels.
And I do remember like a Mythbusters episode of like how much force would it take to keep those 3 barrels underwater, and it was a lot.
Oh yeah.
Which I think they just chalked up to like this shark must have just been huge.
Huge. Well, they do make a point where Quint is like, all right, it has 3 barrels now. It's never going to be able to go under the water with 3 barrels, and it does. And Matt Hooper's like, have you ever seen anything like this? And he's like, no, no, I haven't.
No, I haven't. So that was kind of the first day, and now it's getting to the first night, and they're just like, well, you can't really see anything at night. So they're sitting. They probably just ate dinner,
drinking out of a store
for sure.
Yep.
And Matt Hooper and Quint are trading stories about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you see this scar? I got it from a electric eel bit right through my suit. Oh, this one's from a tiger shark. This one's.
It's just like Lethal Weapon 3, where Mel Gibson and the girl do this and then start having sex. It's exactly.
Stop.
Exactly like
First
that
of all, I haven't
scene.
even seen that movie. Spoilers. Thanks. That movie's like what, from the 90s?
Yeah.
Didn't look it up. Yeah. And And I had always thought during that scene that like Sheriff Brody like lifts up his shirt and like looks at a scar like
funny.
he's gonna say something.
Right.
And when I was younger, I was like, oh yeah, he probably got like shot because he's a cop from New York. And he like just never says anything.
What a deep backstory.
That's what I thought. And I'm like, because he's like a super and nowadays I'm like, no, it's an appendix scar.
Yeah, it's an appendix, and he's
that
like looking
is
at
the
it in
only
shame,
scar he's got.
tucks
Yeah.
it away. Yeah.
But in this scene, and was Steven Spielberg's favorite scene to shoot, because we get the backstory of Quint.
Yeah.
That he was
so shark obsessed.
Right. He was a member of the USS Indianapolis.
Yeah. This is a real thing.
Yes. 1945.
Yeah.
June 29th. A ship, a very top secret ship, had just delivered the atom bomb to Hiroshima. And on their way back, had been hit by 2 Japanese torpedoes and sank. 1,100 guys were aboard that ship, all went into the water, and for 5 days they stayed there, and only 316 people survived. It is presumed that the sharks attacked or ate the rest. I'm sure some of them died of hypothermia.
Oh, sure. And
honestly.
drowning.
But yes, this is a real thing that happened. Not a lot of people talked about it because it was a super top secret thing.
Well, it was classified for a while, and then what it wasn't, like there just wasn't a lot of press about it.
But the speech that Quint gives is just like, you know, we got into the water. The nights were cold and the days were hot, and we all tried to band together so the sharks would leave us alone.
This is an amazing impression you're doing, by the way.
Shut up. Like, what do you want me to do?
His voice.
I can't do it.
Okay.
I'm gravelly enough as it is, but I can't do that. But it's just like we banded together to try to keep the sharks away. But like, of course, they would attack the guys on the outside and you'd hear the high pitched screaming. And to see a shark, like, you know, with its dead eyes, like a doll's eyes, until it bites into you. And then its eyes roll over white and it's, you know, feasting upon you is some of the most horrific things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's like, and I even saw like my friend bobbing in the water, and I went to shake him because I thought he was sleeping. He bobs up and the bottom half of him is gone. Like this is the shit I've seen.
Yeah.
And this is why I am the way that I am. Like,
Yeah.
and it's an intense scene.
Anyway, I delivered the bomb.
Yeah, and that's how he ends. He's like, but we delivered the bomb.
Yeah.
So
It is a huge scene. It's so heavy and incredible. It's one of the best scenes in the movie for sure.
absolutely. And apparently they had like corresponded with a couple of people who went through that. To like kind of get the stories of it and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I can't imagine having to tell that.
Oh, yeah.
And then like your family going, oh, we got to go and watch the shark movie. No, I would not.
Right.
Like I've had enough sharks in my life that I don't need to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We all, I mean, kind of during this scene as well, of course, the shark attacks the boat at night and whatever, and like knocks out the light. And I love the line of Matt Hooper, like, he ate the lights.
It ate the light. Yeah.
But also in the background of this, we see like 2 falling
Shooting stars. It's really cool. And those
Which-
couldn't have been added in digitally.
No,
They didn't have that.
No,
so
they're
that must
not.
have
I
just
think they
happened.
just happened. But
Yeah.
I always look for them, and I always think that's super,
It
super
is
fascinating.
awesome, yeah.
It's getting down to it. They got the 3 barrels on the shark. They got to drag it in.
Yeah.
They somehow the shark like pops up. They attach the ropes that were on the barrels like to the ship, and they're
Right, to
trying
tie
to
'em
drag
off.
it in shore.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about tying the rope to tying rope is a theme throughout this movie because it's like tying the knot. It's like you're in a relationship with hunting sharks.
Shut up.
I'm right. A lot of ways to read this movie. So they end up tying it to the boat, and this thing is so strong that it's pulling the boat. It's pulling the boat. Jody, it's pulling
orca.
the boat. Yeah, the orca. And so Robert Quint is like,
Which is a killer whale. Should have been a killer shark.
Killer shark?
In the shape of a killer
In
shark.
the shape of a killer whale, orca. He grabs a machete and he's going to go and run and cut the rope. But before he can, this thing pulls the holders of the rope out. They're like, oh, it got away. So I just love the shot of him like manically running with the machete.
And then he just like looks at it and he's going pop, pop, pops
Yeah,
off.
Right. So this thing, the shark has gotten away. They're like,
Right.
oh, no.
And like Quint's like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Right. The
Well,
boat is...
Matt Hooper's like, well, I brought a shark cage
Right.
and I brought some poison.
Yeah. Some venom.
So if I can get in there and if I can get close enough to the shark, I can kill it.
Yeah.
So they're like, hell, like who knows? Let's try it.
All right. Why not? Yeah, so they build this, they assemble this shark cage, they put it in the water, Matt Hooper goes into the water, and in the original script,
he's supposed to die. The shark's supposed to eat him.
the shark attacks the cage and
But
kills him.
there is some real shark footage that some people down in Australia filmed for this.
Yeah, with the shark cage.
To
a miniature version of one.
right, to make the sharks down there look even bigger. They're like 16-foot sharks, which
Still
is
pretty big. Bigger than me.
And so, but one day while filming, this big ass great white shark
Mm-hmm.
gets caught in between like the boat and where the shark cage is.
Yeah.
And is just thrashing and thrashing and
Destroys the
thrashing.
cage.
And yeah, it finally lets loose and the cage falls down and the shark gets away.
Uh-huh.
And
This
they're
footage
like,
is amazing.
And they're like, that's never happened. That will never happen again.
Uh-huh.
Blah, 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 blah. And Steven Spielberg's like, yeah, but was somebody in the cage when it happened?
Like,
and
all
they're
right,
like,
no, fine.
they're like,
somebody wasn't
no.
in the cage. Thank you.
So they had to rewrite because they had to use this film because
Right.
it's unlike anything anybody's ever seen or will see again.
It's incredible.
And they're like, okay, well, let's rewrite the whole scene
So that Matt Hooper gets out of the cage before
and
that
swims
happens.
away and hides.
Yeah, he's fine.
Right.
He survives. Much like Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. He was supposed to die. They liked what happened
so
so
they kept
much
him.
that they kept him around. So yeah, the shark destroys the cage.
And now he's like, I'm just going to destroy this boat. I'm tired of this motherfucking boat.
Right. It's giving me nothing but problems. I'm
Right.
gonna eat the boat.
It keeps putting barrels on me. And I
Right.
don't appreciate it. So it just literally
I
just
haven't-
starts eating the boat.
I haven't eaten a human in over 24 hours. I'm getting hungry.
Right.
Gotta eat this boat.
Just like launches himself onto the boat, breaks
Yeah.
the back
Ugh.
half of it.
Awesome.
Of course, it's starting to sink.
Yep.
Brody and Quint are there, and like it's like straight up just sinking. Quint slides down.
Yeah.
Of course, he's the lucky one, and is like I said,
Playing footsies with it.
this is what I think of when I think
Yeah.
about being eaten by a shark.
This is scary.
He just is fighting and trying to avoid getting eaten by this just huge shark.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't.
No.
He gets like just
Bit in the stomach.
like bit in the stomach
Ugh.
and just swallowed and dragged down whole.
Yeah. Ugh. What a way to go, though.
No, I don't want to go that way.
But he's famous. He was in Jaws.
No, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's scary. He grabs the machete. I never see him grab the machete or stab the shark, but you see the machete in the shark. He's stabbed it with the machete, which is not quite as badass as Jason Statham, but pretty close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, he dies, and so then it's just up to Brody. Because
he's assuming that Hooper's dead
yeah,
because
which makes sense.
the cage is destroyed.
Yeah. So earlier in the movie, they had set this up with the air tanks that they use for scuba diving. They're highly compressed air, so if you mess with these, they're gonna blow up. And so he's like, "Ooh, I got an idea." So he grabs one of these things, he throws it into the mouth, the jaws of Jaws, the shark, whose name is Jaws. Throws it in, and shark swims away, is looping back around to get at him, and Brody's like, grabs this gun. He's like, I'm gonna shoot.
Right,
the
he's
shark.
like, the boat is like gone. He's
Yeah.
on the mast.
Right,
mast
it's
or whatever
falling.
it is.
It's
and
like
he's
sinking.
just like, if you show me that tank, I'm gonna
Come on,
fucking shoot it.
Show me the tank. Show me the tank. He's like, come on.
Smile, you son of a! Shoots it, hits the tank,
Boom!
big explosion.
Massive explosion. Way better than Deep Blue Sea. I
Oh,
must say.
way better.
Huge explosion. The shark's head blows up, but the rest of him's still there. So this it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The shot of the shark sinking.
Slowly sinking, and you hear it in the background. Okay, here's my Jaws knowledge.
Okay, yeah.
So before Steven Spielberg was assigned to direct Jaws,
Yeah.
he directed a movie called Duel,
Duel.
which is basically land Jaws
Sure.
with trucks.
Right.
And it's to where like he really liked it. He's like, oh yeah, like Duel has 4 letters and Jaws has 4 letters, and this could be like my, my tie or
motif.
whatever. Right. And like in there, a semi truck like barrels over the side of a mountain and sinks down. It's like screeching metal and all this stuff. And as Jaws is sinking to the bottom of the sea, you hear it. You hear the screech.
Huh. Interesting.
I love that.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
So they put the sound effect of the crashing
Yeah, it's
truck.
very subtle, but it definitely is there.
Cool. I'll have to look out for that. And he wins. And then Hooper swims up and is like, I'm still here. I'm alive.
Which, thank God. Like,
Yeah. And so the two of them swim back to shore into the sunset and live happily ever after together. until Jaws 2. Okay, so Jaws 2, it
No.
takes place. Oh, we're not.
No, let's talk about some of the shenanigans that happened while filming this.
Oh, geez, this shark.
Because there's enough of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, they thought they could film this in like 59 days.
Yeah, they had a shooting schedule of 59
in
days.
the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah,
No.
right.
Mother Nature doesn't give a shit about your filming schedule.
No, it does not.
Universal Studios was like, film it in the pool in our back lot.
Right.
And they're like, no.
And it was Spielberg. By the way, Spielberg is like, this is going to be a tough movie to shoot. I don't want to do it. And the whole time he was like, oh man, this is going to be like, this might not work. Is it going to be garbage? It was his idea to shoot in the ocean. He was the one who was like,
paid
this
off.
is how you, oh,
Paid
absolutely
off.
did. Like the shots of them just out at sea and you see nothing around. It's like so
Yeah.
isolated.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
But then it's like, so they build this shark mechanic and they test it in the pool at Universal.
Right. And it works. Great.
Great. Well, that's just fucking fresh water.
Right. They didn't test it
massive
in
idiots.
salt water.
Yeah.
So dumb.
And like salt water just eats everything,
Oh, yeah.
ruins the mechanics. The shark never fucking works ever.
Right.
Like every day the shark breaks down, they have to fix something. And if that wasn't hard enough
It wasn't.
that the shark mechanics wouldn't work underwater, one fucking night,
Oh, no. I forgot about this.
Steven Spielberg invites his best friend to come and check out the set. Who's his best friend? Fucking George Lucas
George!
of Star Wars fame,
Not
who
yet.
hasn't even made Star Wars
He's
yet.
nobody.
Yeah, you're fucking nobody.
I think he'd made American Gangster, and that's it.
Who cares?
Or American Graffiti, sorry.
And is showing him the shark.
Yep. It's like, look at this
And
cool
George
thing.
is like, oh, it's all part of my vision that I want to see what's on
part of my original vision.
on the inside of this shark.
My original vision was
Crawls-
to crawl inside the shark.
Crawls inside it to check out the mechanics, and Steven Spielberg
Stevie
is,
to his friends.
yeah, is like messing around with it, trying to get it to close like on George or whatever. First
Yeah.
of all, that's dangerous. Don't
sure.
do that.
Yeah.
And George fucking breaks it.
They break the shark. George Lucas ruins everything. George
Everything he
Lucas
touches.
ruins everything.
I couldn't believe it when I heard that story. I'm
So
like,
funny.
are you serious?
They fixed it, quote unquote, but it just like this thing never worked. It was always buggy, and that kind of encouraged them to keep it hidden and not have it be seen all the time.
Yes. So they're like, let's film everything we can without this shark.
Right.
You were supposed to see the shark in like the first scene when the girl dies.
Right.
But they're like, nope. Figure it out.
Right, we can't do it. So they did it without showing it. Much scarier that way.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
We will. So the shark never worked. Universal's on Steven Spielberg's ass, like, get this movie done. You've
Yeah.
gone 100% over your budget. You've gone 170 days over budget.
Right.
Like, get it fucking done.
Yeah.
And like, it just, Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss were at each other's
Oh yeah,
throats.
they were feuding the whole time. When they shot the scene with the sharks in the water,
Mm-hmm.
the Indianapolis scene, they did it first, and he was wasted off his
Robert Shaw.
ass. Yeah,
He's like, if it's all right with you, Steven, I'm gonna drink a little bit because I think I'll perform a little better for this scene.
right.
And he gets plowed.
Plastered.
Can't even get the lines out and whatever.
Right.
And then like calls Steven Spielberg 3:00 in the morning, like, how much of an ass did I make of myself? And he's like, let's just try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next day, does it completely sober. Boom. Shot's
Right.
done.
But they say that like you couldn't have told the difference between the performances.
Yeah, I guess they had like pieced it together. Like some of it's the drunk one and some of it's the sober one.
Yeah.
Which I like that they do that type of stuff because it deepens it on
It's
what's
cool, yeah.
gonna happen and whatever. But it's like that happens.
It was a really tough movie to shoot.
They had to shot like all the way into September. The water's freezing.
Oh yeah.
All of it. Like such a hard movie. But in the end,
It paid off for sure. It was a huge success, huge movie. Everyone loved it. Everyone was scared of it. People were running out of the theater vomiting when they saw it
right.
during the opening scene and everything. So I would say they pulled it off and did it successfully. And it's a classic movie. Launched Spielberg's career for sure.
Yeah.
And changed the whole game of like blockbusters. It was the first blockbuster.
Summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Buster. Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah.
And those were the movies that we watched today.
Yeah.
They were really scary.
It was.
Now, Jody,
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. What makes it scary? Changing things up today.
Yes, I get to talk about what makes it scary.
Because
First
you
of
are
all,
scared of sharks.
I am. First of all, the shark itself
Yeah.
is a perfect eating machine.
A killing engine.
Yes, it's a tank that has teeth.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about like why teeth are scary,
Yeah. Look, 'cause they eat ya.
menacing. It's primal. Back to the caveman days where like, of course, if it's got teeth, it's going to eat you.
Yeah, all
Avoid
of our,
it.
like our biggest predators were wolves and bears and sharks and things that had teeth.
So like the shark alone is terrifying.
Yeah.
We have, as a society, inflated the fear of sharks.
Mm-hmm.
And when Jaws came out, people flocked to the ocean to kill sharks.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, okay, you can't do that because like that's horrible. You're gonna
Right.
because some sharks are already almost going extinct or whatever.
I think the author of the original novel has
was like-
devoted his life
yeah,
to
it's-
shark preservation
it was
because
like,
he's like, I didn't
don't do
want to
that.
start
Yeah.
this.
But like either people flocked to kill the sharks or people never went into the ocean again.
Right, the dichotomy.
Like and there I believe there are those two types of people in the world.
Right.
So there's that. So the shark is what makes that scary.
Yeah.
But what makes, I would say, let's just talk about Jaws.
For sure.
Scary is the fact that we don't see the shark for
Yeah.
3/4 of the movie.
Right. And even when you do, it's very small little.
Right. Tidbits of it because the shark didn't work. And like I said, they reshot the whole first scene because they didn't have the shark.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, just like act like it's there.
Yeah, be scared of
Okay.
it.
Well, when that happens,
Uh-huh.
you yourself as
The audience.
the audience inflates whatever you find to be the scariest and puts it on it.
You put it into the movie.
Right. Just like you put your fears into Jason's mask
Yep.
or Michael's mask or anything like that. Though or Paranormal Activity, it's whatever you think is the scariest, that's what it's going to be.
Right. Yeah, your imagination is scarier than anything they'll actually show you.
So there's that. And then you're also doing it in the water
Yeah.
where we don't know where anything is.
We talked about this before where
in
when you're
Creature
under
of
the
the Black Lagoon. Yeah.
when you're underwater, you have to look in every direction because it's not just
and you just can't.
Right.
You don't know what's under you.
yeah, and when you
And it
can't
could
see
be 50 feet away. It could be 5 feet away.
it could be 0 feet away.
It could be touching you. It could take you at any minute. How many times
Uh-huh.
like have you been swimming in like the lake or the ocean or even a pool
I try never, but
and someone is being a jerk and like pulls your foot down?
Yeah.
I have an uncle who does it every single time.
I
Like
think I do this too sometimes.
yeah, and it's not okay.
Right.
Like it's terrifying.
It's very scary.
So like, you think about all the things that can kill you under the ocean, which we still know like nothing
Yeah,
about.
Right.
There's so many things that we haven't discovered.
93% of the ocean is still unmapped, and like the ocean life, we don't know all of it. It's
Right.
scary.
So it's just the fear of the unknown.
Cthulhu's down there.
Yeah. The Kraken,
The Kraken, sure.
just everything.
Yeah.
And that I find is what makes it scary.
Definitely. Sharks are, like you said, very primal, very much back to our roots of cavemen of being like, we have to, just predators are going to be the scariest thing. And if we have to be near them, no. No, thank you. I don't want any part of it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Steven Spielberg does not go into the ocean.
No, he doesn't.
And he says, they know I made Jaws.
Right.
The sharks know, and they will find me.
Right.
Like he doesn't go in the ocean.
I think that's so funny that it's just like, they know who I am. They know that they're after me.
I would be the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, nope.
It's like, oh, this guy. We're ready for
Yeah.
him. Cracking their fin
Yeah.
knuckles.
But like I said, the fascination with
Yeah.
things that we're scared of.
You're drawn to him.
Exactly. Like we have Shark Week now.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll have Shark Month eventually.
Yeah.
But like we just are obsessed with sharks.
Yeah.
And how many movies have there been about sharks?
4. Jaws.
No,
Deep Blue
there has
Sea,
been like
The
over
Meg.
500
The Shallows.
movies
Yeah.
about sharks.
Well, there's one-
most of them bad.
Oh yeah, there was one with the tornado that I don't want to talk about.
Right. That we won't talk about
Right.
ever on the show.
Well, they made-
until they get to that one episode that we do every season.
Right.
But
They even made sequels to Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, and Jaws the Revenge, of varying quality. I say just all bad.
I love Jaws 3
You do. I don't know why.
because it's fun and it's
Okay.
got Dennis Quaid in it.
It does have Dennis Quaid in it.
But
But Jaws 4 is one of the worst movies ever. I
yeah.
still say should have won
no.
worst horror movies.
No. But yeah.
Yeah, well,
And that's my fascination with the movie Jaws.
thank you for explaining what makes it scary.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. This was a great episode. These were great movies. Jaws is maybe one of the best movies we'll ever talk about on this show.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'll sleep a little bit better.
Now that we're done.
Yeah.
And especially, hey, guess what? Only one more episode.
I know.
I don't want it to end. Let's do 50 more episodes
No.
this season. Okay.
No, because I want my life back.
Yeah. It's going to be great to not have to watch.
Next week, tune
so
in
many
for our
movies.
final episode of season 3, where we will be talking about Cabin in the Woods.
Wow. What an interesting movie.
It is. We will get into it next
Yeah.
week for sure. If you want to tweet at me your favorite shark movie, maybe there's something out there I haven't seen that isn't complete garbage.
Right. Doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it because I've seen a lot of shark movies. You can tweet at me at CleverGirl, the letter F and the letter X.
If you want to tweet at me, pictures of goblin sharks, but do not at Clever Girl in them.
Yeah, don't.
Do that at Mr. spelled it the long way, Red Plays. At Mr. Red Plays, I plays games.
If you are excited about our next episode, Cabin in the Woods, and you want to say what should have been picked at the end of that movie,
Yeah.
if you know what I'm talking about, tweet at the show at Makes It Scary.
Do it. I think it should have been the shark.
I wonder if there's a shark. We're going to have to look and see if there was a shark
Yeah,
on
let's
the
watch
list.
closely. Watch closely for everything that we've talked about this season. Every single one of those is in Cabin in the Woods.
Probably.
Fun fact.
Probably.
All right.
You know
well,
what,
thanks.
Alex? Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.